Hello, everyone. My name is Ms. Thais, and I have a story for all of us to read. Today, we're going to read Dream Carver, and it was written by Diana Cohn and illustrated by Amy Cordova. All right, here we go. Mateo lived in a small village in Mexico, nestled beneath the ancient Zapotec city of Monte Albon. His family grew blue corn and green alfalfa in the fields outside their casa. Every sunrise, when the rackety rooster crowed, Mateo joined his father to carve little toys, who get this, which they sold at village fiestas, and to the tourists who came from all over the world to see the great Zapotec ruins. Like many of the wood carvers in their village, Mateo and his father carved tiny pigs, cats, dogs, and goats, carving so small they could fit in the palm of a hand. Mateo's sister and mother, like many of the women in their village, painted the carvings in bright, bold colors. Mateo loved the village fiestas because those were the only times when there were so many delicious things to eat. He feasted on turkey with black mole sauce and drank hot chocolate until his belly ached. He danced to the village band and laughed as his mother and father put their fingers in their ears when poom, 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 the fireworks and bottle rockets exploded one after the other in the Zocalo, the village square. In the days between the fiestas, Mateo learned as much as he could about all the animals he saw around his village. He watched how his herd of goats stretched their necks to drink water and how jackrabbits started this way and that across the fields. He saw how cats rolled in the dusty grass and how dogs lay down to rest lazily in the shade. Whenever Mateo sat under his favorite guaje tree, a parade of these animals pranced through his imagination. The goats were as pink as bougainvillea with cactus green speckles. The jackrabbits were cloaked in orange capes with red and white flames. And the cats were as purple as eggplants with specks of corn yellow. Someday, Mateo promised himself, I will carve all these animals to life. One morning, Mateo told his father about his dreams. Papa, he said, I see animals so big and so bright that I will need to carve them with a machete. I want to make them my way, instead of making the same juguetes we carve over and over. Mateo's father said, why should you carve differently when for hundreds of years it has worked for us to carve the way I taught you? We work in the fields all day and barely have enough time to make juguetes for the fiestas and for Senora Martinez to sell in her shop in Oaxaca. Stop these foolish dreams. We have work to do. But Mateo couldn't stop the animals from creeping and crawling through his dreams. They visited him everywhere, in the fields during the day and in his dreams as he fell asleep at night. One night, a dazzling golden rose-colored jaguar called out to Mateo, carve me grand and wild, and you will find the power and strength you need to carve all your dreams. So the next morning, Mateo joined his father and carved miniatures juguetes as he had always done. But in the afternoon, he snuck away and cut a giant branch of fresh green wood from the copalillo tree and peeled it with his machete. With a few bold machetos, he tried to carve the mighty jaguar that had been in his dream the night before. But it looked clumsy. Next, he tried to carve an armadillo, but it looked lifeless. Then he tried to carve a chicken, but it looked crooked. Why don't you come out the way I want you to? He cried as he threw his half-carved animals to the ground. But Mateo kept carving day after day and week after week until finally, one day, as he carved the quetzal, the iridescent bird of the rainforest, the wood peeled off like feathers. Mateo sanded the bird smooth and then took out his paintbrush. He painted the bird turquoise and orange with yellow dots sprinkled across her breast. He painted her long feathers in bright green and black stripes. Mateo could hardly believe his eyes. At last, he had carved an animal from his dreams to life. Now the carving came easier. When Mateo imagined a white polka-dotted squirrel or an orange-striped gazelle gazing at the stars, or a black and yellow spotted frog bracing to spring. He could carve them all just like that. But what Mateo loved best of all was when he had no idea what to carve. He would sit there and look at his woodpile until he sensed an animal waiting there for him. Then Mateo would start to carve and carve and carve some more until he said, "Hola, Conito," and a little rabbit would pop right out of the wood as if waking from a deep sleep. One day, Mateo looked at his animals and wondered what his father would think of them. Would he be surprised? Would he be angry? The next fiesta was Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, the perfect chance to display his carvings. Mateo could barely sleep the night before the festival, but in the early dawn, just before the rooster crowed, Mateo finally fell into a light sleep. Very softly, he heard a raven call out to him, "You have nothing to fear. Your dream animals are with you." That morning, Mateo gathered his carvings and laid them down on the main street for all to see. As the fiesta began, musicians gathered together and people flocked to the Zocalo. When the children saw Mateo's carvings, their eyes lit up like honeybees attracted to sticky, sweet fiesta candy. They swarmed to see the animals and began to name them and to play with them as if they were alive. Woodcarvers marveled at the magical creatures. The noisy, chattering crowd surrounded Mateo and bought one carving after another. Finally, when all the bustle and clamor began to calm, Mateo felt a gentle hand on his shoulder. When he turned around, he saw his father's beaming face. "Mateo," his father said, "it's time for you to teach me a new way to carve." "Papa," Mateo said, remembering the early mornings when his father first taught him how to carve. "I saved my favorite carving of all for you." And Mateo picked up the quetzal and placed it in his father's hand. The end. I hope you all enjoyed that story, and I'll see you for another story next time.